Hey, it's Gabrielle again, and I'm here to share why I became vegan. I was recently asked for the details of my journey to becoming vegan, the ups and the downs, the good, the bad, the ugly, all the in between. So I'm here to share my journey. My journey started about 6 years ago, or nearly 6 years ago, I should say. I found myself with heavy breathing, going upstairs, leg swelling, and I knew that edema meant there's something brewing here, something that I don't want. Now, prior to that, my parents both had passed. Both of them were diabetics. My dad also had high blood pressure and cancer. And he actually died of prostate cancer. And I'd always told myself that I didn't want to participate in diabetes. I didn't want to participate in illness of any kind. And so for several years, I've been prompted to do make little changes in the way that I eat. So the very first change, God started talking to me about sugars. And so God told me to stop eating so many sweets. So I cut back. I didn't cut them out, but I cut back on sugar. So things like soda, punch, fruit punch, stuff like that, fruit juice, I cut back on. Because fruit juice, whether you know it or not, is high in fructose corn syrup. Not good for the body. Of course, at that time, I didn't know that. I just knew what I was being prompted to do by the Spirit. So I cut back on my sugars and I went to water. I didn't do it cold turkey. The way that it started is I limited my intake for sodas and other sweet drinks, even sugar in like tea and coffee. So what I did was I gave myself 3 drinks or 3 sugary drinks a week. And I did that. I didn't give myself a time limit specifically, but just when I felt like it was, I was ready for the next change. So I did that for a few weeks, and then I went to 2 sugary drinks a week. Well, that turned into me actually having 1 a week. And 1 week turned into 2 a month. And 2 a month turned into 1 a month. And then it went to none. But when it got down to none and I really wasn't addicted to sugary drinks anymore, I still gave myself the liberty to have a sugary drink if I wanted one. And so that kind of gave me, I would say, the grace to get something if my body craved it without feeling overwhelmed by not being able to have it, if that makes any sense. And so eventually I just stopped drinking soda. In fact, I drank nothing but water. And so I did that for several years, even before I became a vegan. Now, when it came to me becoming vegan, another prompting that Spirit was trying to get me to do was to stop eating meat. Now, I came off of beef. Pork wasn't a problem because I didn't eat it very often. But I stopped eating any kind of pork. And the only thing I was consuming was chicken and fish, mostly chicken. But it was something about that fried chicken. So I want to say it was maybe about 2 years from the time I first heard stop eating meat that I continued to eat meat, which was the chicken and the fish, until I started experiencing the leg swelling and not being able to breathe properly after going up some stairs, breathing heavy and all that kind of stuff. And that's when it was like, okay, wait a minute, something's got to change. Plus, I was not exercising, just to be completely honest. Seems like when I was dancing at church, I had none of these problems. But 2 years after I stopped dancing, all these problems started. So as long as I remained physical, I was good. Well, anyway, I finally decided, okay, I need to go ahead and heed the promptings of spirit. Well, I needed help. I'm just going to be honest with you. So I reached out to the one who told me to cut back. So I prayed, God, I want to honor what you've told me, but I just can't stop eating fried chicken. I love fried chicken. I need help. I was just completely 100% honest. And the thing about it is, Spirit already knows what you're feeling. They know what you're thinking. So there's no need to lie. No need to lie to yourself, because that's the only person you're lying to. So I just was completely honest. And it was maybe about a week, maybe 2 weeks. And I went to Tennessee and spent some time with my brother and his wife. Well, while I was there, I happened upon a book one evening. They were upstairs. Usually we would eat together, but for whatever reason, this particular night, they were upstairs. And I happened upon this book on their counter, Eat This, Not That. So I grabbed dinner, and I'm sitting there eating dinner, and I'm thumbing through this book, reading, little passages here and there. And I come across a section that talks about how food is packaged and processed. How there's so many gnats allowed, so many maggots allowed, so many fly eggs allowed. And I was completely disgusted. By the time I finished reading, you could not pay me to eat meat. You couldn't pay me to eat certain foods out of the grocery store. I won't say which ones, but heavily processed, you might want to stay clear of it. Anyway, this was the day before Thanksgiving in 2017. Needless to say, Thanksgiving 2017 was my first Thanksgiving without meat. And I haven't looked back since. That's how I came to stop eating meat. Now, was I vegan? By no means. I was still drinking milk or using milk for different products. I think by this time I'd already switched over to coconut milk, so it wasn't your regular cow's milk, but I was still using eggs and things like that, still eating pastas and all of that. So my diet was still pretty regular. It just did not consist of meat. So I guess you would call me a vegetarian or pescatarian at that time. I did cut drastically back on fish as well, because I'm looking side-eyed at everything that moves and creeps, Anyway, so I stopped eating meat. And I started delving down into what was going to make me healthier. How would I feel better in my body and get rid of the things that I was experiencing, get rid of the edema, get rid of, the sluggish feeling when I'm going up and down stairs. And so that's when I came across veganism. So I started reading exactly what that is. And I found out that it was eating nothing that comes from animals. That's honey, that's no dairy, that's no eggs. And I wasn't completely convinced that that's what I needed to do. But the more I started delving into who I am as a being and learning about the laws of the universe, things begin to shift. They begin to change. And I started looking at how meat is processed in America and how things are done. I started looking at the ways of Christ and, thinking about the way Jewish people process their meats and the kosher way, and it was drastically different. It was very different one from the other. And I came across a video. I can't think of the name of it. Oh, What the Health. I watched What the Health. And do you know, I said, what the hell is going on in society? What's going on? That was the game changer. And that's what changed my mind completely. I saw how animals were stripped of their babies, separated. And I think, how I feel. And looking at these animals crying for their young ones. They're being separated. They're going to the slaughter and they know they're about to be killed. I mean, you can see the terror and the fear in their eyes and how they're backing up. They don't want to move forward. It was the most horrible but eye-opening experience ever. Changed my life. And from that day, after watching that video, I became a vegan. No longer indulging in any type of meat or product that includes animal products. So you're probably saying, well, what do you eat in a day? I really came off a lot of carbs, so I stopped eating pastas. I switched regular pastas to every now and then, because I don't do it a lot, every now and then chickpea pasta or something like that. I started drinking spring water. I started exercising. I included a lot more vegetables and fruit into my eating regimen, because I don't like the word diet. So I just started, doing things a lot differently. And I will say, I have loved the benefit of it. I lost a lot of weight. Now, I lost a lot of weight not drinking sugary drinks too. But once I stopped eating meat and I came off a lot of processed carbs, it was the game changer. I actually got back down to, I got smaller than I was pre-babies, being around 115 pounds. And my shape is very intact. And I'll show you some pictures that will go along with this video. But I will say this, not eating a whole lot of those kinds of proteins, I have seen that I do lack muscle mass. So that is what I'm currently working on. And it's a journey. So I'm trying to increase more in beans and nuts, things like that, that will that grow from the ground, that will give me the proteins that I need. I came across something else called nutritional yeast that a lot of vegans eat as well, that will help with increasing the proteins that we need for our bodies. So this is a work in progress. I am by no means an expert in this. It is trial and error every day. In the kitchen, I feel like a scientist because, I don't really know what I'm doing. I cook by inspiration a lot of times. I get inspired to mix this with that, and surprisingly, I come up with some great dishes. So, if you like, feel free to tune in and to join me as I continue down this journey, because that's what it is. This journey of life, and no longer indulging in meat, but, partaking of everything good that God has created, and I will say this because this is something that became a real game changer for me when I came across the law of the universe, that is the law of one. the universal law of one. The universal law of one tells us that we are one with God. We're one with nature. We're one with the universe. So that's the cosmos. That's the sun, the moon, the planets, the water, the wind, the soil. We are one with the ducks. We're one with the whales. We're one with cows and chickens. We are one with these beings. We're one with ants, the creeping things. We're all one. And so if that is the case and we're one, what are we doing when we're killing off other beings that are living just like us, that have feelings just like us? They may not have the capacity to think in the way that we do or to reason, but they are living. They have breath. They have Ra within them. And so because of these facts, I can no longer indulge in meat and any practice that is harming the earth or the other part of myself. Because when I think of the earth, I think of me. I am earth. So this is my journey. Again, I'm not an expert. I'm purely just walking a journey, following spirit as they lead. And feel free to join me. I will be sharing, different aspects of things that I learn about the earth, about the cosmos, about foods, recipes, just sharing my journey, even my exercise journey, because that's another huge piece. I really would like to sculpt my body in a way that I look in the mirror and I'll be like, hey girl, you got it going on. Even though I think that now, but there's always room to improve, a little more booty, a little more, Anyway, so that's my story. I'm sticking to it. And that's all I have. Feel free to ask me any questions that you like. I will definitely answer. And I'll share as much as you'd like me to. Until next time, this is Gabrielle. I will see you soon. Mwah.